So we might have heard about the new gl3 app coming out by Looney, and I am here to discuss it, as in give her like half my opinion. This is my first ever rant, I think. This is very unprofessional of me, but I'm not a professionalist. So, if you haven't watched the video, I suggest you do. Looney is officially making a gl3 game, from what I heard. Reminder about this, Gacha Club was not fixed for iOS. A pretty successful app that a lot of people enjoyed. This is where the glitch happened and all the files were corrupted, and he refused to work on it since it was quote-unquote too hard. I also like to mention that gl2 is incomplete. Here's some few incomplete assets that I looked into. The font thing, the ID friend in the Life tab, the visit section in the Life tab, the props, the movie, and a lot of missing background features. I've seen every asset, well not every, that's an exaggeration, but I've seen a lot of assets people have published on a gl2 server, but Looney refuses to do it. Quote unquote. Fashion Weekly hasn't been added either, so what the hell happened? Looney happened. From multiple comments from him is that it would be better for my mental health. Sorry for the language, but absolutely bloody not. That's a shitty excuse for throwing a game in the dumpster. Most of these games have heavy potential, but Looney refuses to add them. It isn't mental health, it's laziness. gl2 should have been your not your main priority, but should have been on your priority list since it was so popular. But you left it for a year. But I'm kind of guilty of that. Off topic, but I do leave a lot of my books because I'm really lazy with them, but that is not a part of the topic. And besides, if your mental health was that bad, and you just left every incomplete game, then why are you making big games in the first place? Mental health should not be an excuse, since mental health is a real, actual thing. You shouldn't be using that to your advantage to leave things behind. If you don't have the motivation to make such a big game and not update it, then you shouldn't be making big games that need a lot of updates that you've promised to people in the first place. You've promised to a lot of people about completing or getting a lot of things done, but you never follow up to that. Another one of Looney's excuses is that the coding is different. I'm not entirely sure by what he means by the coding is different, since I think it was on Flow Attendee's video, but since I'm currently rushing this, I cannot find the proof. But as a coder, I'm not sure what you mean by the coding is different, of course. But you've switched up the GUI with Gacha Life. So you could probably do that. It might take a little bit of work, but you can change it up with Gacha Life 2 too. It's not hard to put the hard code in Gacha Life 2 from experience of making a few games, of putting hard code into normal code. But I'm not entirely sure what Luneman means from this, so I can't really push a point further until I know more about this. I'm not sure if he means a different coding script, or maybe it's more complicated code, but if it's more complicated code, you could still put it into the game, since it won't really mess with it as long as it's not messing with the other functions. And as I said with the GUI, you've done it with Gacha Life, where you changed up the GUI just a little bit, just to make it neater. Even if it takes a lot of work, you can still get it in Gacha Life too. Now, personally, from my point of view, and this is not really important, but Looney is unprofessional. I'm going to say this now. I'm unprofessional. A lot of people are sometimes unprofessional. But he's abandoned a lot of games he's made and refuses to fix or add on to it. Gotcha Club is an example of that. Hence, we saw that iOS, the files were corrupted. He refused to make that. He refused to fix that. And now it's happening with Gotcha Life 2, where he refuses to add any more because of his quote-unquote mental health. I'd like to bring up that mental health, don't use that as an excuse. I said that. Wait, but hear me out. As a person with mental health disorders, that is not a good excuse to abandon things. And I've learned that from my own point of view, because I've abandoned many things that I really shouldn't have. Because abandoning just makes people mad, or it makes people upset, or it makes you upset in the future. Mental health, in my opinion, should never be used as an excuse for laziness or just not wanting to do something. Again, if you don't have the motivation then for the game, then maybe you shouldn't be making these big games and resort to smaller things that would be easier and better for your mental health. I'd like to point out one last thing, or one more point, or whatever, that people cannot draw. My friend Knowledge, he cannot draw. And I'm going to say this, we all have different art styles, but that's not the point. He usually uses Gotcha Life 2 to make concepts for his characters, so he has a sketch of what it would look like for the official designs, for his shows, and everything like that. And other people do it too. People cannot draw sometimes. People don't draw good in their point of view, so they use Gotcha dress-up games to make a concept of their OC. That's why we need assets, not the option to draw our character or assets. We need more assets, not making your own assets, which that also shows how lazy Looney really is. If you don't want to import someone else's assets that they give you permission to, we're not going to talk about the prop thing, but people that give you permission, but you push that away and make it so people have to draw some of their assets up, which is, in my opinion, a stupid idea. The reason we have the Gotcha Life assets so that we don't have to draw them. That from my point of view, of course. This could be completely wrong. In my personal opinion, these assets, this drawing asset thing is not something I would enjoy. Some people will, some people won't. It is completely optional to the brain and mind. But I've seen a lot of people complain about this new asset feature, along with the making of Gotcha Life 3. Looney, instead of making a new game, add on to the game that you'd promised to add more on, which would be a way smarter and make a little bit of a happier community. Coming from me and a few other comments I've seen with huge rants. But since I will not be stealing those, because I can't remember the word, but since I'm not stealing those comments, I'm just going off what I think and all the comments I read. But I won't read them out since that's plagiarism. The word is plagiarism. I finally found it out. But the point is, don't make a new game. People might like it, people might not. But you need to finish your games before you move on to some other creative thing that you're going to leave behind again and again and again. Update something that you haven't in a year. Maybe fix Gotcha Club so people with iOS can use it. Because it seems unfair that you just don't want to do it because you're quote-unquote mental health, which is not a really good excuse. It's called laziness. Sorry if this was hypocritical, because this is my first rant that I wrote down in a notebook, and I worked on, I got mad at. If I got anything wrong, I am sorry. You can correct me if you want to. This was just a rant because I do not like the situation that is going on. and I had a huge burnout while writing this. So, one last reminder that some of this is my opinion and some of this is not true. I didn't do my huge research on this, which I will try to do more in the future if I ever make rants again. I had a huge burnout with writing this, but it's okay. I'll see you guys I don't know. Bye!